Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Modern Day Masterpiece if you've never been to my channel before. I usually discuss movies and recently discussed some music topics. Today I wanted to dive into television. I watch arguably even more television than I do movies, and there's a couple shows that have been weighing on my mind because thematically and narratively they are similar, but yet again so different. I think the comparison deserves to be spoken about, and I don't think I've seen anybody really talk about it outside of just regular like blogs or Facebook posts or something. And these two shows I want to talk about are You're the Worst and Love. Both these shows have ended, with You're the Worst just ending and Love ending last year. The reason why these shows are easy to compare is because they're both about dysfunctional relationships, basically subverting your expectations for what a rom-com can be. Uh, I know maybe we've seen a little bit of stuff like that in film, but on television we haven't seen much of that. A lot of stuff comes off as cheesy, and this felt either real or really profound. And I want to dive into what show I think is ultimately better than the other, and which was it's just tough for me because I seriously love both shows. Both shows helped me through different times of my life, and I'm very thankful for them. I want to talk about Love first. The show aired on Netflix in 2016, and it came at a time in my life where I kind of needed a show like this. Maybe I was going through something similar, and it just really spoke to me. I'm reading where some people could barely make it through the first season because they hated the characters, but I found a sincerity in how unhinged these characters are, and how they don't care to make them unlikable. I dare to say that the character of Gus is unlikable through the entire season, whereas Mickey, I think her problems are more easy to explain, making her a little bit more likable because of her addictions and stuff. But what makes Love really good is that it always feels grounded in reality, to me at least. Yet again, some things may be a little bit over exaggerated at times, but at the end of the day, it still feels like it's pretty much grounded in reality. The show is not flashy at all, though. Visually, it looks like a television show. The direction isn't anything special, but the acting makes up for that in a lot of ways. I think Gillian Jacobs' performance as Mickey is really amazing, and they really missed out not nominating her for stuff. I don't think she got nominated for anything for this show, and she kills it through all three seasons. And the character of Gus does improve, I think. In season two, I start to like him more, and it's really a testament to the power of the show. Because by the end of season one, I was thinking to myself, I do not want to see these two people together, like, ever. And then, sort of by season two, I was like, I'd be okay if they got together. Yet again, if these people existed in real life, I probably would not want a friendship with them, if I'm being honest. But it's a television show, and you enjoy watching things like this to sort of relate to things that's happening in there, and sometimes cringe at some of the things because it reminds you of things that have happened to you in your past. Side characters on Love are very good. They're good. Which I'll get into the Year of the Worst stuff here in a little bit because I want to separate the two completely. But the side characters are well done in this show. I think at times that they could have given them a little bit more, but this show was mostly Gus and Mickey driven, and I totally understand that. The show also has an amazing soundtrack. And to jump to season three, to me, when you know that a show is ending and it's the last season, sometimes you expect there to be no conflict in the final season, similar to You're the Worst, which I'll get to. But this show really jumped some hurdles in season three. There's a lot of conflict that it's hard to see how they'll get through it. These two people, and I think the way the show ends is beautiful because it's a little bit open for interpretation in a sense. I think the creators knew that the show was getting canceled, so they decided to make an ending that would feel fit as an overall ending for the show. And I know some people probably don't like the ending, but I thought it was really beautiful. And yet again, the soundtrack kicking in, playing "You and I" by Wilco, which is just a wonderful song to go along with the hundreds of good songs that were played throughout the entire series. This show is incredible. It's still my favorite show that Netflix has ever released. I really wish more people would give it the love that it deserves. Now to jump to You're the Worst. You're the Worst had a couple more seasons than Love. Love had 3 seasons. You're the Worst had 5 seasons. And whereas Love was grounded in reality, while You're the Worst wasn't completely fantastical, it was a little bit more over the top with its comedic chops. Some of the way that some of these characters interact with each other didn't feel grounded in reality. But You're the Worst was always a funnier show than Love. But here's the real topper here. While Love did have heavy emotional moments, with You're the Worst being so over the top at times, it was just so profound. Like when you get to season 2, it covers clinical depression, and that's something that sticks around throughout the entirety of the show. I think these characters of Gretchen and Jimmy, to me, are pretty much terrible people. Like they really are. And the side characters are pretty terrible. Yet again, this is a show full of characters that I would not really want to know in real life. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of watching them. I enjoy watching their arcs and seeing how they can grow. And while the characters in You're the Worst may grow a little less, it may take them a lot longer to grow than the characters in Love. I always found it very profound and provocative whenever they'd make little baby steps. And You're the Worst, like I said, was a funnier show than Love. It was also a better filmed show, better made show. Direction-wise, this show felt like a movie at times. It had really daring visuals, and some of the camera work in some of these episodes was amazing. I remember particularly the episode that was Edgar based, who was one of the side characters. The episode forefronting his PTSD. Very depressing episode, but it was visually very stylish, and I have nothing but great things to say about this show. Yet again, getting to its final season, you expect there to be maybe a lack of conflict, or at least for some reason I thought that. And the show has a way of being very funny through 19-20 minutes of its 22-23 minute runtime, and at the very end, like they'll hook you with something that is kind of heartbreaking and earth shattering in a sense. And that's what You're the Worst is so good at. It's just good at having these little moments of clarity, or little moments of depression or heartbreak. And you wouldn't think it would fit with a show that's fairly silly at times, but it totally does. Now, to go on to the ending of the show, to say that which show had the better ending, You're the Worst has a better ending. And Love, I think, had as good of his ending as it could possibly have had for a show that was being canceled. You're the Worst ending is beautiful. It is beautiful. There's so many misdirects all through season 5, and it's done wonderfully to misdirect us as an audience to get to where we are in season to the final episode, showing us glimpses of things in the future, and it looks pretty bleak. But the show ended up sort of being about hope. It was being about living with something, knowing that you're gonna have flare-ups with your depression, or bad things may happen to you, but you're living with it because you have someone with you. And yet again, I don't want to go too much into spoiler territory because maybe somebody hasn't watched the show watching this video, and I want to really get them to watch the show. So don't want to get too much into spoiler. But the show ultimately, for a show that was so cynical, like a lot of the time, You're the Worst had a hopeful feeling to the end, and it's a show that keeps on living. The end sort of reminded me a little bit of the Parks and Recreation series finale. So yeah, it really is a phenomenal show, and one of my favorite shows of the past decade. So which show is better? Love nailed the realism of a dysfunctional relationship that essentially no one is really rooting for, and You're the Worst nailed how cynical relationships can be, or love, while still having those profound moments and finding the humor in them. I think ultimately You're the Worst is the superior show. It went longer, and a lot of times that is a flaw in the show, because a show will go too long. But 5 seasons is like a perfect amount. Breaking Bad, 5 seasons. The Wire, 5 seasons. You're the Worst, 5 seasons. It can go into that, and I think it is probably the finest romantic comedy I've ever seen. It is wonderful. But watch both shows. Seriously, both shows that they complement each other so well. If anything, it'll make for a very depressing month for binging. Uh, Let me know what you think of these two shows below. I can't imagine if you watch one show that you wouldn't like the other because there are a lot of similarities, but yet again, like so different. Let me know which show you think is better in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.